We begin this story in a place of uncertainty because General Hospital itself is living in uncertainty, and so are we as viewers who have watched these characters for years and learned to read meaning into every silence, every glance, every choice that feels slightly out of character. Lately, what stands out the most is Jason. We feel it before we can fully explain it. Jason has changed, not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a quiet shift of priorities that is far more unsettling. For years, his center of gravity was Carly. Everything he did, every risk he took, every line he refused to cross or chose to cross, somehow connected back to protecting Carly. Now, that center seems to be moving. We hesitate to say it with certainty because nothing in this world is ever simple or guaranteed, but it is possibly moving toward Britt. We say possibly because we are not naive enough to claim this is absolute truth. General Hospital loves misdirection. What looks like a permanent shift today can dissolve tomorrow. Still, when we look at Jason's recent actions, we cannot ignore the pattern forming in front of us. Jason has been spending almost all of his time revolving around Britt. He buys her a car, not as a casual gift, but as a practical tool for a new life. He finds her a place to live, giving her stability when she has none. More than that, he is the one who saves Britt and brings her back to town, placing himself at the center of her survival and her return. These are not small gestures. These are the kinds of things Jason once reserved almost exclusively for Carly. That is why this change feels so significant. Jason is not simply helping Britt out of obligation or guilt. The level of care suggests something deeper, even if he himself has not named it yet. We watch him move through his days, and Carly is no longer the first person he checks on. He no longer rushes to shield her from every threat. Instead, he seems to believe that Carly is protected now, possibly by Brennan. This belief alone is enough to change the entire dynamic that has defined Jason for so long. If Carly no longer needs him as her primary defender, then who is Jason without that role? This is where the story becomes more dangerous. Carly senses this shift, even if she does not say it out loud. She is not the kind of person who easily accepts losing control or losing importance in someone else's life. So we see her making moves of her own. Carly begins planning against Brennan, but she does not tell Jason. That silence matters. In the past, Jason would have been the first to know. Now, Carly keeps her strategy hidden, forming a secret alliance with Valentine. Jason has no idea this alliance exists, and what is even more telling is that he seems almost indifferent. The man who once lived and breathed Carly's problems is now emotionally elsewhere. We cannot help but analyze what this means. Carly plotting against Brennan is a risky game. She believes she can outsmart him, and maybe she can. It is hypothetically possible that her plan succeeds, but it is just as likely that it fails. Brennan is not a man who forgives betrayal easily, and if Carly miscalculates even slightly, the consequences could be devastating. She could end up facing prison, or worse, becoming the target of Brennan's revenge. No matter how this plan plays out, one thing feels almost inevitable. Carly will run back to Jason. If she succeeds, she may come to him to boast, to unload the emotional weight of what she has done, to remind herself that she still matters to him. If she fails, she may come to him desperate, frightened, and in need of protection. In either case, Jason will be pulled back into Carly's orbit, whether he wants to be or not. This is where Britt becomes vulnerable. Jason is strong in many ways, but he has always been weak when it comes to Carly. We know this pattern too well. When Carly is close, Jason softens. He becomes easier to manipulate, easier to guilt, easier to pull away from whatever fragile happiness he has built elsewhere. It is almost like watching a child being distracted with candy, a familiar comfort that overrides logic. So we cannot ignore the possibility that Jason and Britt, despite everything they have shared, may be forced to end once again simply because Carly is too close. And yet, Carly is not the only threat to this relationship. There's another question hovering over everything, one that fans have whispered about for a long time. Is Sam really gone? Or is she still alive somewhere, waiting for the right moment to return? We have heard the rumors. We have seen the speculation. We are not claiming they are true, and we are not fully convinced ourselves. General Hospital has taught us to be skeptical. Still, the idea of Sam returning refuses to disappear. It lingers because it fits too well into the emotional chaos already unfolding. Hypothetically, if Sam were to return, everything would change overnight. Imagine Sam walking back into Port Charles, alive, determined, and unwilling to fade quietly into the background. Her first instinct would likely be Jason. Sam and Jason share a history that cannot be erased, no matter how many years pass or how many other relationships intervene. Sam might want to live with Jason again, to rebuild a family that was torn apart. More than that, she might want to fight for Scout. This is where Drew enters the conflict. Over time, Drew's behavior towards Scout has raised concerns. Many of us have felt that he has not treated his daughter with the care and attention she deserves. If Sam is alive and sees this, she would not stand by silently. A custody battle would be almost inevitable. Sam asking Jason to help her regain custody of Scout feels entirely in character. Jason would not hesitate when it comes to his children or the children of the woman he once loved. If that battle succeeds, the outcome would be both beautiful and tragic. Jason, Sam, Danny, and Scout living together under one roof would look like a perfect resolution. A family finally reunited after years of loss and separation. Happiness would seem possible again, stable and real. But in that version of the future, where does Britt fit? The answer is painful. Britt would likely be left behind, feeling betrayed once more. She would have opened herself up, trusted Jason, and allowed herself to believe that this time was different. Watching him choose Carly again, or choose a reunited family with Sam, would confirm her worst fears. It would reinforce the idea that she is always temporary, always the person Jason turns to only when his past is unavailable. As we move toward the end of this story, we are left sitting with all these possibilities, none of them fully confirmed, all of them emotionally charged. Jason stands at the center of it all, a man pulled in multiple directions by loyalty, guilt, love, and habit. Britt represents something new and fragile. Carly represents the past that never truly lets go. Sam represents a family that could be restored, but only at a significant emotional cost. We do not know which path General Hospital will choose. That uncertainty is what keeps us watching. What we do know is that change has already begun. Jason is not the same man he was, and whether this transformation leads to growth or destruction remains to be seen. Possibly, he will finally break free from old patterns. Possibly, he will fall back into them once more. Likely, someone's heart will be broken along the way. And hypothetically, if Sam does return, the fallout could reshape every relationship we have discussed. We end this story not with answers, but with tension. the kind of tension that General Hospital thrives on. And we wait, knowing that whatever comes next will not be gentle.